Did you steal these artifacts special for this interview?
I bring them with me everywhere, not just art heist films. I also bring this for some of my tender Sundance fare that I like to do as well.
It's perfection. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, congratulations on this movie. I loved it. I thought it was incredible. So many twists and turns. What a great cast. So Dwayne just told us that you guys have known each other for like 2 decades. Why did it take you so long to do a full movie together?
That's a damn good question, Cheslie. I don't know. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Dwayne is a very busy man, like very busy. He sleeps in a full sprint. So I don't know how he has time for anything, let alone movie making, but he seems to make time for it. So, we met obviously a couple of decades ago, but when we've been friends, which gave us a nice little shorthand and a real camaraderie on set. But it wasn't until Hobbs and Shaw, I just did a little cameo on Hobbs and Shaw, and I was sitting there, and this is where this movie came up for the first time. That was the first time I'd ever heard of it. He brought it up, and it was a film he was producing. I was like, well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Let's see what happens. 9 times out of 10, nothing ever happens when people are just chatting about it like this. But Netflix took it on, and next thing I knew, we were off to Atlanta and shooting the film.
The rest is history. That's awesome. Well, and you mentioned that Dwayne's so busy. I mean, did you guys have time to work out together?
He doesn't let me in the Iron Paradise. And, I think that's wise because I tend to be a little pranky, and I'm sure I would do something in there that he would not please the bull, so to speak. So yeah. And I don't think I really want to get Dwayne like real mad at me. I want to get him like fake mad at me, which is
exactly
my comfort zone.
Turn him into the Hulk at some point in time. We don't want to see that.
Yeah, no.
Definitely not. Well, what did you love about your character in this movie, Nolan?
I just love that it's a guy who's a bit of a scamp. He's a bit of a rascal. I kind of love characters like that are not really taking themselves too seriously. He's having a lot of fun with the situation that he's in. You never really feel like there's stakes, but you also feel like he's a guy that will roll with just about anything that happens to him, good or bad. And that's an aspirational version of myself for sure, but it's not something I'm actually even remotely related to in real life. So,
well, and Nolan has a pretty emotional backstory. I mean, how did you tap into those sort of somber moments while balancing the humor in the movie?
Those are, that's just the kind of expositional backbone of the characters in the movie. Those things are important. You kind of have to have those. You can't really, like in life, you can't really experience or understand what happiness is unless you've also experienced, the opposite of that. So it's a bit of just sort of laying the groundwork to get away with some of the wily kind of shenanigans that we happen to get into later in the film.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Now, you are also busy. I mean, you talked about Dwayne being busy. You're pretty busy. You got a lot on your plate with all the movies that you're doing, your business empire, and being a dad. What do you do to recharge?
What do I do to recharge? I just spending time at home with my family is important. One thing I've learned to do is just like put the phone down at night. I don't look at anything at night. I've really it's a discipline. It's hard. I think in this day and age, we're all kind of addicted to our phones and, social media and that kind of stuff. So putting that stuff down at night has changed my life. It's really allowed me to be a little bit more present with my family. And that I find to be pretty weirdly and unexpectedly restorative. So who knew? That makes
sense. So no Instagram for Ryan at night. I get it.
Yeah, no, nothing. Just my family. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I love that you talked about sort of stepping away from movie making, taking a sabbatical for a little bit. Was there any particular moment that happened that prompted that sabbatical, or did you just think like, I've got to spend more time with my family and this is the time?
It's a bit of both. One is that the pandemic was, I think really hard on kids. I don't care, and look, I don't care where you're from or what you do. It was difficult for all kids. And I recognize and acknowledge the fact that I'm obscenely fortunate to not live paycheck to paycheck. So I was able to be home with my kids when we were in lockdown. And it made me think how important that time is. And then all of the films that I had that were supposed to just be laid out in the right way after that were suddenly back to back to back as we, came out of the pandemic. And that was really hard because my kids were in school and I couldn't bring them with me. My wife and I tend to not work at the same time. So, so we can always be with the kids. And that was a real struggle for me. And I just felt like I need to be home more. So it doesn't mean I'm stopping work or stopping development or stopping any other things I'm doing. It just means I'm not shooting any films for the next little while, just so I can at least work from home and be there in the mornings and at night. So
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, and you've been busy leading up to that. I mean, you just finished Spirited with Will Ferrell and Octavia Spencer. What was your favorite part about working with that team?
Song and dance camp was the best. I mean, it was challenging, but it was amazing to be with Octavia and Will and learning a new thing. All of us learning a new thing, doing something that really like genuinely scared the crap out of us. That's an unusual thing I would not take for granted now. After doing this job for close to 30 years. So we were all pretty terrified and had a lot of fun along the way. And we were all kind of new to musicals together, which made it sort of lovely and beautiful. I would probably be a little bit more intimidated if I was working with people who only do musicals the whole time. So we all got to kind of have a similar kind of learning curve.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.